episode of Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. We're back. Had a week off. Some things came up. Families had to get taken care of. Everybody's doing all right now. Fellas, we're back in the cave. How you doing, SP?
It's been a day.
We might have to have a little story time.
We have
from you
to.
this
We
week.
have to get some story
Yeah, well, I
time.
think
This unfortunately is one of those things I don't know if I could talk about because I happen to have a phone call with the CEO. I just got an email about.
Oh,
So I don't know. How
we'll
things are gonna go.
wait then. Maybe
Yeah.
we're
gonna hold off.
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit.
fair.
Maybe when the story has a happy ending.
Better
It
have.
better have it. Yeah.
If not, you won't need a story time from me. You're going to see it on Twitter. All right.
SP will no longer be part of the show, is what he's trying to tell you. Pinky, how you doing tonight?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm starting to get back to normal. It was a rough weekend, and self-induced, but
Okay.
starting to get back to normal.
Yeah. Get it out of your system, buddy.
Oh, dude, it was rough. Rough. A little nonsense. Went to the Broncos game Sunday
Yeah.
with the fellas. Went and got. We ate a lot, drank a lot. Just a long day.
Yeah, you have Monday off?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. We stayed in a hotel. So we went up early, went to the tavern downtown. Good place. We were doing pictures of Modelo, and my buddy was doing a picture of Bud Light by himself. Probably, like, the whole time, our buddy Gary's saying, pace yourselves. Pace yourselves, guys. We got a long day. Did we
What
pace
time
ourselves?
did you start at the tavern?
Like 10:30.
It was a 2:30 kick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did not pace ourselves at all. And we leave there. We go to the game, get into the game, have some more drinks at the game. As I posted on YouTube a little video about the Broncos, fan experience is still good, but it was very noticeable. There was 11,000 no-shows. Mid-season. And we're still technically like right there in the 7th seed playoff spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Those 11,000 people are like, no, we're not.
Now, again, it's cold.
Nah.
It was also Washington. But it's also a game we should have won.
It's Colorado.
So
Okay. It wasn't that cold.
it was cold.
When Broncos are doing what Broncos are supposed to do, they get supported real good.
They do. So
Now, it's not just that the season's not good. There's plenty of backstories that cause a lot
I'm
of
hoping it helps spur change. But it was weird to see that because I like to go to the last game of the season. The last couple years, there's no pressure. We're not in the playoffs.
Right.
Win or lose, it doesn't really matter. If we lose, we get a better draft position.
Right.
If we win, we had fun. We had a good time.
Sure,
right?
sure.
And it's cold. No one's there. It's like 40,000. There's like 20,000 no-shows then. So seeing 11,000 in the mid-season, that's a little weird. But coolest thing is we all went to Meow Wolf. We had 8 o'clock reservations for Meow Wolf.
I still got to check that out.
And two of the friend group may have gone a little overboard and got to a point after about an hour they had to leave.
Too much on the sensories, huh?
They had to leave. which is hilarious when you realize this place is like a maze.
Right. I was going to ask, were they able to get out?
Every room
That's got to make things
leads
so
to
much
another room.
Yeah, dude. Because I've heard stories that this is just one continuous, like...
So this one's a little bit different than the Santa Fe one. The Santa Fe one be pretty easy to get out of. It would be pretty easy.
I've heard this is sensory overload on crack.
This one is literally like 3 stories, and every room leads to another room. So my buddy Sam, as we all know Sam, he was able to get out. He actually went to the gift store, bought stuff for his family. Like, he was fine. He got outside. But then we were like, hey, bro, where'd you go? I had to leave. Okay, well, why don't you come back in? We're still, like, walking through. Like, I know we hadn't seen everything yet. Nah, man, no re-entry. Can't get back in. Fine. So we're talking. My buddy's like, I don't care. I need to leave. And we're like, we're trying to find you an exit, bro, but we can't do it.
Right.
And so we walk into these other rooms, and my buddy Gary, who's also, 3 of us had already been to the Santa Fe one. I think my buddy Jared was the only one that had not gone to a Meow Wolf yet. And He was always like, I don't know what's going on, but I need to get the hell out of here. And again, we'd never been to this one, so we don't know like how do you get out of this one.
Yeah.
The Santa Fe one is pretty easy to get out because it's all on kind of like one level. This one is 3 levels deep, and it's basically you start off high. You have to literally go all the way to the bottom to get out. So it was probably about an hour and 20 minutes in by the time we finally got out, and I was blown away. I don't think it's as good as the Santa Fe one myself. The Santa Fe one's got a pretty good story to it. They've got a lot of stuff that tells the story to you, so then you have kind of an idea of what this art exhibit is trying to like show you.
Yeah.
This one has none of that. It doesn't have like the upfront story or anything to go off of. You're just kind of walking room to room. But there's some really cool stuff. I've got some pictures. I got a post of it. Had a blast. And it's thanks again to all the wives and families that allowed us to go out and have a great day together and pretty much be idiots for the day. We did get a hotel room. Learned my lesson, actually. I roomed with Sam. That was a mistake. I know Sam is an early riser because normally we've got a group chat that he will be the first one at like 6 a.m. to throw something out in the chat. So I've known this about this man for a long time. I didn't realize that after a night of drinking, or all day drinking, it was literally 6:30 in the morning, and he turns on a light and starts packing.
To leave? Like he wasn't going to let you sleep?
Just randomly packing.
Like no courtesy that he was going to wake you up?
No, I mean, he woke me up by turning on the light and starting to pack.
That's what I'm saying. Like he didn't give a fuck?
He was just like, yo, man. I was like, bro, why did we get a hotel room if we're getting up at 6:30 in the morning?
Agreed.
All right? We're supposed to sleep in a little bit. So I'm like at the point. I laid in bed for about 45 minutes. He showered. He got done. I was like, I guess I'm up. I get up. I'm in the bathroom. I'm getting ready to get in the shower. I hear him go and wake the other guys up. Hey, guys, I'm going to go get coffee. You want coffee? What? Let them sleep, man.
No breakfast at your hotel?
They had breakfast. We actually went to it all worked out that we got up early. Thankfully, I wasn't horribly hungover because I had stopped drinking early. But we went to Sam's number 3.
Okay, delicious.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I guess
Where's that at? Never been.
There's a couple different locations, but Cherry Creek.
The
did you
original
go to the Cherry
one.
Creek one?
No, this was the one like downtown. It's like the original one.
Okay.
It's like a full diner. It's like the diner is literally a block.
They're really known for their
It's like
green
the full
chili,
block, yeah.
big old burritos, but they're good. Yeah, delicious breakfast.
It was fantastic. Jared's burrito, it was so big. I've never not finished a burrito. Never. I feel like I would not have finished that burrito.
Big, yeah.
For sure.
It's good breakfast.
I got their eggs Benedict with green chili.
Yep.
Awesome. It was awesome.
That's the first time you've ever eaten there?
Yeah, I'd never.
Okay.
I haven't gone downtown Denver. Really hung out. It was kind of funny listening to Jared and Gary because they were like, "Yeah, this spot's over here and this is over here," and I was just like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
That's what I'd be doing with Chase Cotton. Like he'd do it even more than me because he lived right downtown by Cap Hill. But yeah, I spent almost every weekend I'd drive up there and just crash on his couch and hang out and party.
Yeah, none of that
for
me.
Quite a few years. So
all of that was an experience.
There's a lot of good little places up there for sure. Sam's is more well known. But delicious. You know, what's funny is you've been to the Cherry Cricket, and somehow I've yet to go there. Out of all the places I've been, how often I was in Denver, I've never been to the Cherry Cricket for a burger. So it's weird.
January 9th, Cherry Cricket, before or after? One or the other. Let's do it.
It might have to be after because I kind of want to take you guys to my buddy's bar before.
Okay.
It's okay.
I know you had a not a great.
I think you did so you've got to be careful when you do the burger of the month because it sounds interesting and good, but it might not be.
No, that was my brother.
Yeah,
okay.
he did the.
I
green
did
chili
their
burger.
award-winning burger. Okay,
Oh,
yeah, and that wouldn't have placed top 5 in my list. So
I think you might have just had one of the off nights, unfortunately.
it's possible.
I've never had a bad burger there.
I
Actually, I'll be honest.
It's
I've
okay.
never had a burger I didn't like.
have so.
I haven't. I've had burgers. I'm like, well, that wasn't as good as other places.
Sounds like you got lucky, Pinky, because I've had some burgers that came out like overdone or just issues.
I may have a shitty palate too, so there's that.
Well,
Yeah.
to each their own then.
Yeah.
That actually probably works a lot better in your favor.
Did you by chance put Monster on your burger?
No.
Because
It's on the side. It's on the side.
yeah, all right. I was just curious, man.
He was dunking it.
I do like weird. I like a mayo with like a Cholula or something or sriracha. I like that on my burger.
Pinky pulls out a little bag of powder. And everybody's like,
Special seasoning.
What are you doing, Pinky?
Some
He's
dehydrated
like,
Monster.
I'm dehydrated.
You guys, dehydrated monster. You guys suck. Lucky I like you guys.
Just sprinkle a little of that on my.
But I felt like this was a good precursor to the excellent weekend I'm going to have next weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are going to have a fun weekend coming up here.
I feel like it's going to be hell driving there and back. But the game's going to be hilarious.
Why? I think that'd be a fun little road trip.
It
with
might
some buddies.
be. It might be.
I
I want to be a good passenger and help my driver stay awake and keep him engaged. But, I worry that I won't be as entertaining as I should be.
was unaware that I was taking the most useless people on a road trip with me.
My wife confirmed it for him.
Yeah. Literally, I'm taking carbon copy knockoffs because my brother's exactly the same. That like as soon as I put him in the driver's seat, he'll pass out. And apparently Pinky's the same.
So I can give you a good 2 to 3 hours if you are talking to me and keeping me engaged.
Gotcha.
If you guys are both sleeping while I'm driving, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
And yes, you need to check and make sure your life insurance is paid.
Do you have like Sirius XM or anything like that?
No, we got smartphones. What do you need
Yeah,
that
we can
for?
put on anything we want.
Some of those areas are a little rough driving down towards Dallas, but good luck. But yeah, if you can throw it on something where, you guys can keep a conversation going about, a podcast about sports or movies or something that you guys can then discuss along with it with each other. That's pretty easy.
I've not really, had conversations with Aaron's brother. I'm excited to meet him and sit down and pick his brain. They're both movie lovers, so I am excited to talk movies and kind of get their opinions on different things. So
That's true.
I think we will have some good conversations around that. And
I am one of those people though who I have issues staying awake in cars sometimes if I'm not driving. If I'm driving, I'm usually okay. If I'm not, it's a little hard
for me. It doesn't
awake.
matter.
I can't sleep in cars, man.
And then sometimes I'll be driving, and sometimes I get that like that dazed boredom, like road nodding off thing. So I'll have to like stop for 20, 30, take a nap. Somebody else drives, and then I'm
just gonna assume nobody's gonna bail me out.
I told you, as long as the sun is up, I can give you an hour or two, man.
I do all the driving. Like I do Nebraska all the time down to Phoenix. I'm the one that drives it. So
all I know is when we get to the hotel, you guys gotta leave me alone. All right, because
you crash.
I'm gonna be napping.
What's that situation like?
What do you mean?
2 beds and a pull-out, or what are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, most
Might
people
have to do the floor.
Oh, really?
The pull-out's just for a fat guy like myself. Sleeping on a pull-out is literally just sleeping on the bar.
Oh.
Did you already get stuck with the pullout?
I don't know.
No,
maybe.
not necessarily. Honestly, whoever throws me money first probably gets the bed.
I'll give you some money, gas, and everything.
All right, yeah.
I know I got lucked out because we're not flying anymore. So.
Right. Well, then my brother's probably getting the pull out because
Pay the man tonight, Pinky. Secure your spot.
Yeah, we got
That's
2
what I'm
beds?
hearing.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got
two,
you.
2 queen size.
Yeah.
And the pull out.
You'll have money in your hand.
Trust my brother's probably better off sleeping on the couch. Just don't even take that thing out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do a pull-out at all. We
No.
were actually talking about
Yeah, you
that
wake
on
up with
this little
scoliosis on that thing, man.
bro hangout.
Yeah.
Gary got a suite, and he was like, "Yeah, we could all stay in the suite." And I was just like, "Wait, it's 1 king and a pull-out, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I'm not sleeping on the floor, and I can't sleep on a pull-out. So at least I'm cuddling you. I need my own bed." And so then I just got a room with 2 queens, and Sam and I room there. But we got it adjoining, so we could walk in between, which made it good and bad. But yeah, I can't do a pull-out at all. I've tried that, and it just
Those are awful.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
A fat guy like me, I mean, the mattress is so thin.
Right.
You add a fat guy on it, there's literally no mattress anymore. So
Yeah. You're just literally laying on bars, dude. It's rough. I hear you.
You know what's really nice? A blow up on a pullout.
that might work. Although I'm kind of the guy that like the pull out or the air mattress moves a lot because again, I'm really heavy.
Yeah, I've woken up once or twice with it flat. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh, I've done that plenty of
Yeah,
times.
it
Yeah.
was out. Yeah.
Just saying, you feel like the princess and the pea. You're like way the hell up there. It's wonderful.
So yeah, we're gonna do some videos for the podcast down there
It'd be a good trip
while we're
man.
there,
Yeah.
having a good time.
We're gonna be meeting Patrick out there too. So
Cowboys are gonna roll.
If his flights and everything make it.
if his flights make it, yeah. Because now he's like, yeah, we're gonna fly out Saturday.
I actually talked to a guy, a Southwest pilot today,
Yeah.
and I was asking him about that. He was like, "We should be okay now. We should be okay now."
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you guys are going to have a fun weekend. That'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys. Anything else, fellas?
On nonsense side, nah. I guess more.
I got some more nonsense, but
Yeah.
we should probably talk some baseball, man.
Yeah. Go for it.
All right, then.
Let's give the people what they want.
Yeah. I got some.
By the people, I mean Zach and Dan.
I got some emails to read. So.
Zach, you better be listening to this tomorrow with solid feedback because we're going to give you a good 30 seconds of hardcore analysis here. We'll see what Pinky can come up with me here. It is the top of the fourth. Game 6, Atlanta is up 3-2. Damn, I thought they had game 5, man. I thought they had that,
Man.
and then it just went down quick. It was over.
Well, both teams can score a lot of runs
They
in
can.
a hurry.
They absolutely can.
And the
So-
Astros, after being down 5-0, and then it was 5-4, and then next thing you know, it's 9-5.
Yeah, it changed quickly. It was unfortunate. But
3-0 now.
3-0 Atlanta, top of the fourth, game 6. I'm all about
So,
the Braves.
again,
now I grew up a Braves fan. So anybody who wants to be like, oh, you're just saying that because you don't want to root for Houston and they're blah, blah, blah. No, I grew up a big Braves fan because growing up in Colorado, the Rockies didn't exist when you were young.
So there were two teams that were on all the time if you grew up in Colorado in the 90s, early
Yes,
90s.
sir.
Braves
On TBS
and Cubs.
and the Cubs on WGN.
And you might get some White Sox
Every
on the
once again
WGN.
sprinkled in.
So you always saw Braves games on TBS. They were always on. And so in the early 90s with Braves,
Glavin,
Glavin,
Maddox, you had
Maddox,
Justice, McGriff.
McGriff, yeah.
dude.
Chipper Jones.
Oh, yeah, just loved it. Loved it. And I was a huge, growing up, I was a pitcher as a little kid.
Terry Pendleton.
There's a lot, dude. The fact that they went to 4 straight World Series and lost.
And it hurts that they lost so much. Like,
then they finally won.
they finally got one in 95.
So I am rooting for the Braves because I grew up a Braves fan. Would it also be nice to see Houston get there and then lose? I'd say yes if it was the Dodgers doing it to
I
them.
know a lot of people like that narrative.
Them losing to the Braves to
And again-
me has no relation to that narrative story
I'm probably
whatsoever.
like the pseudo baseball fan that doesn't bother me at all. I'm rooting for the Braves because I grew up a Braves fan. That's who I watched.
Now, I will say, I think MLB basically tried to sweep that whole situation under the rug. I don't think Houston got penalized at all, which I think was an absolute joke. But it's not really different than the Patriots with Spygate, and they got like a $500,000 fine, and that was it. Like,
I think they lost a draft. I think they lost a first-round draft pick on that.
wasn't that much. Like,
Not like Belichick really cares about
all
first-round
things
draft
considered,
picks, but
like it was a slap on the wrist, and that's what I feel like happened to Houston. So them losing for that reason, like I guess maybe like to me that narrative doesn't really play into this World Series at all. It just doesn't for me. If it was the Dodgers, it would have, and I would have had a whole different narrative to talk about and discuss. But for this, I grew up a Braves fan. I want to see the Braves win another one. I like the team with Freddie Freeman. It's a bummer Acuna isn't in there
Freddie
playing.
Freeman's a really good dude.
Yeah.
So good to see him win.
They got some young pitchers with Freed. I'm drawing a blank.
I like Albies.
So,
Am I saying Albies
Sorona?
right? I think it's
I'm going to
Albies.
draw a blank on the guy's name. He's a pitcher. He's out this season. So, like, the Braves could actually kind of reload and come back next year as the prohibitive favorite, possibly with
Oh
Acuna
man, they're loaded up and down the roster.
and some other pitchers coming back. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year. But as of right now, it is the top of the fourth, 1 out, nobody on. Looks like Duvall is up to bat. Jock Peterson on deck. Top 4, 3-0 Atlanta. And again, they're up 3-2. So I'm sure Zach might have a little bit more to say. I mean, Javier is pitching. Javier is a solid pitcher for Houston. So that could definitely, as the game progresses, it could be interesting to see how they roll out all of that. They got Fried pitching for the Braves, which I just mentioned is a good young picture. So there could be a duel where
being down 3-0, Astros are in like desperation mode of
absolutely
we need to just shut them down.
I mean, the fact that they've already got 3 runs on Javier.
No, Javier came in. He's only thrown 8 pitches. So he wasn't the starter.
What did I miss?
He's not the starter. Starter for the Astros was
Garcia.
And
Thank you.
They pulled him after 2 innings.
My bad, guys. For whatever reason, it wasn't loading that.
I got it on Bleacher Report, and it shows how many pitches. I was like, oh, he couldn't have played the first 2 innings.
Yeah, I'm seeing it now. ESPN, for whatever reason, didn't load that. That's really weird. I thought that was other.
But that's
Javier
what you do when you're down. You're trying.
Oh yeah, you're going to your bullpen early and often.
You pull that
now.
first guy. He gives up 3 runs. You're like, oh man, you're out.
probably going to have a new pitcher every inning here on out for Houston. They're trying to save their season. Let's see what Fried can do. If Fried can go 6 or 7, that's probably the end. That would
Aaron,
probably do it.
I could say this when it's World Series, game 6 or 7, it's all on the line. We're all having some fun drinking. That game could entertain you because everything matters at that point. It's kind of like watching.
I would say if this game was in Atlanta, you would actually be interested because the crowd with the chant and the tomahawk chop, like it's hard not to get hyped by it. It's hard not to. When you have 65,000 people
keep wanting them to ban that. It's funny they do the same thing in the Chiefs games.
I mean. Get rid of the chop. Fine. Don't do the chop. You can still have the chant. And then people probably be mad about that too. But when you have, it's just, and I don't think a Dallas game would have this. I could be wrong, but I don't think a Dallas game would have a situation where all 70+ thousand people are in unison.
Do you guys do anything that you know of? So I know at Broncos games,
incomplete
is like
there's just
the thing.
There's a feeling when you can get the whole stadium all saying the same thing at the same, like, I know I'm a Husker fan, but like college football is a whole other atmosphere, and we're going to talk about that here in a moment. But the feeling you get, like Pinky's saying, when you can have 70, 80,000 plus people all doing the same thing in unison, it's an awesome experience.
I don't know why I used to hate it. I used to hate the incomplete, and then now I've just adopted it. And I just like when they throw an incomplete pass, I am that guy.
Dude, my buddy
Hands up
lived
in the air, just having a good old time.
I'll say he lived about 10 blocks away from the stadium. A little more, a little less, give or take that. We could be hanging out watching the game, and if he had his windows to open or his front door or something, you could hear it. Like, it's that loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's kind of cool, but no, not to my knowledge. I've never noticed anything.
We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, I've never noticed.
It's probably hard to have a unison when the scoreboard cuts off you seeing half the stadium.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
The only thing we do now is, coup for Cooper. That's about it. Anytime he gets a pass. Yeah. It's definitely nothing to marvel about. But, it's not like we've had a lot of years to prep for things. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Hasn't been a whole lot of things to really get unified.
We'll talk
over.
about that. But the chant is awesome.
I love it, dude.
I've always liked it.
Oh, man.
And again, I think it's still more just like showing appreciation to folks with Native Americans.
I have to go back and look at this because I was thinking about this today and I just ran out of time in my day to try to go back. I thought at one point in time, and maybe it's not the Braves, it could be a different team, but I thought it was the Braves where the local tribe that they're, I don't want to say representing, that they partner with for certain things because it's a Native American tribe still there.
Sure.
I thought at one point they were a fan of the chant and the tomahawk chop because it was symbolic of their warrior mentality within the tribe. If that's not the Braves, I know it is another team, and I'll have to find out again who it is. But There is somebody that I thought it was the Braves at one point. So, a lot of this stuff I feel like the Washington football team, there were so many people on both sides of that within the Native American culture that said, change it, don't change it. Change it, don't change it.
I still love the original logo of the Braves that had the actual tomahawk in it.
Oh, yeah, that was a great one.
I thought that was good.
It goes back to the whole thing is like I don't know why people feel like they have to advocate on behalf of other people. To me, in my opinion, my brother and I had a conversation about this the other day. Like I was telling him, I go, does anybody honestly comprehend? And to give a little background, we're talking about diversity, right? And how diversity is important when it comes to things. But I was talking about like skin color doesn't matter. That's not diversity, right? Diversity is your thought process, your way of life, your experience that you bring into something. And I was telling him, I said, why do people not understand how absolutely racist it is to sit there and saying, because your skin color is different, that's diversity. I said, you know what you're saying is you're making the assumption, oh, I must not have had as good a life as you, right? Because I'm a little darker. And when you sit there and you say that to other people, not knowing their background, you can't get more racist than that. And that legitimately pisses me off when I hear stuff like that. And I'm like, it blows my mind because, again, they're apologizing on behalf of other people. So they're coming out and they're saying, you know what, you're probably not capable of defending yourself because, you can't, or whatever excuse it is. So instead, I'm going to go petition on your behalf. Nobody asked you to. You know what I mean?
Well, they're the majority. So they're trying to use the power they have for the righteous good, right? I mean, isn't that the sweet storyline that's always thrown out there for everybody?
Sure, I suppose it is, but it's utterly stupid.
Of most of the Major League Sports teams that had Native American names,
right?
I can agree the Redskins were probably the most derogatory overall.
But I don't know. When
you take away that history,
yeah,
like maybe they're Native Americans that was like, hey, that's my team because they're the Redskins. And
yeah.
I think here's where I decided to just not have an opinion on it, is when within the own culture of the Native American people, they disagreed on the situation. So you had one tribal chief coming out and saying it's incredibly racist and it should be taken down. And you have another one coming out saying it represents our people and it allows the heritage to continue. And it was like, but if you are split on it within your own culture, I'm not even going to have an opinion on it because it doesn't matter.
Okay, but that's the problem though, because that isn't a singular culture. There are many tribes.
That's my point.
Right? And it's like, so to sit there and say, okay, your opinion matters more than somebody else's tribe's opinion.
That is exactly my point.
Yeah.
Why then is the white man, if you will, even having a conversation about it at all when within that own culture there's so many dissenting viewpoints?
I could see maybe, I don't know
like, what do you have to say about that then? Because it has nothing to do with you.
For the Redskins and Indians, I don't know how you, like, the Indians logo with the weird way that they had the Indian drawn. That's what people had an issue with. That's why they changed to now they're the Cleveland Guardians, which sounds dumb. The Redskins, that name is racist, but their logo was great.
Yeah.
It was an Indian chief. Like,
yeah,
it's a great logo.
Right.
It still represents that group, and it wasn't in a derogatory way. Could we have just changed? Could we have modified the name?
Yeah.
To not be
just how you could have modified the Indians logo. You know what I mean? Make it a little bit more of, in memory of, or something like that, or to consult groups. Hey,
less cartoony, more realistic.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. But you want to know what? That's how everything was back then when they did logos.
Yeah, it was made that way because
right.
you were
just how it was.
Advertising to the population, meaning the family. Like you're trying to get the kids to buy because then the parents are forced to go, kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it was community. I hate the idea that everybody says that everything is done with such sinister.
It's kind of funny.
Approach.
I actually went to a middle school that was the Watson Rebels, and it was literally a Confederate soldier was the mascot.
In Colorado.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
see,
and
some of that probably
shortly after I graduated, got out of Whitefield, they finally did change it. They're the Watson Wolverines now, but. I always remember that logo. It's like, how do we have a Confederate soldier as our logo?
Yeah.
There's some things that like I can see. There's some certain
listen,
things that should change.
Like that's always baffled me though, because it always to me was like you lost. Like, where were you allowed to continue to display your affections? You lost. Like you were the losing side. Like, what are you proud about being the losing? You lost. First loser. Congratulations. You're done. Like the North was so nice with Lincoln, and everybody was like, we really want you guys to still be part of America. We know you lost, but you know, if you want to fly your flag still,
Right.
like if that makes you feel better, go right ahead. They're like, goddamn right, we're gonna put up statues and you'll never know that the South won't rise again. And it's like, okay, like that's what I think about every time I see somebody flying a Confederate flag. I'm like, you are all about the first loser. Congratulations.
Yeah,
like I don't even care about the war. Like you support losers? Like what?
Yeah.
But back to your point, to be a little bit more serious, it has baffled me.
Yeah,
like
I don't understand
people who speak up for something that wasn't asked of them to speak up for,
right?
And then causing a commotion on top of it.
Yeah. So, and then my PSA is this: do not use the term Latinx. Legitimately,
Wait,
in
what?
my Latinx.
What does that mean?
Is a term.
Latinx. That's what they decided to call, I guess, Hispanics as in a group. Even though that's supposed to encompass Mexicans, Spaniards, and I guess I'm like, do you guys not realize those are separate countries? Got here different means, have different cultures,
separate hemispheres.
Yeah, and so now they just refer to them as Latinx. You know what I mean?
I had not heard that.
Yeah.
So wait, Venezuela and
doesn't matter.
El Salvador,
We don't care if you're from
Guatemala,
anywhere,
everything's
South
thrown in there
America,
now.
anything, all that.
Oh, South
Whatever.
America too. We're just
all of it. We're the catch-all. You know,
Was that their way of just saying Asian?
maybe, I don't know.
Latinx.
But you want to know what? See, because here's the other thing though.
That's
who came
new.
up with the term though? That's where I want to know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google that later.
But
I'd never heard that.
I absolutely hate it.
Latinx.
And here's the other thing too. Culture is not supposed to be experienced by everybody. All right.
Right.
So if there's somebody's culture, let it be their culture. Don't inquire. Don't find out if what you're doing is offending it. Because you want to know what? That's your culture, right? And so culture actually.
Or are you saying something that's okay in my culture might be offending in another culture?
Of course, that's what it's going to be for everybody.
Weird.
Yeah.
Someone might not agree with me.
Well, not homeless you, but clean shaven you is
Yeah.
good.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So, but anyways, like culture is a very personal thing. You know, nobody needs to know what my family does. You know, nobody needs to know what our traditions are, because want to know what? Nobody invited you to experience it with us. And it's like, I don't understand the integration into people's cultures. You know, it's
The appropriation of someone's culture is a pretty crazy concept. Like, the way it can be pushed mainstream to then profit off of.
I think,
and yet still be talked about in a way that you're
still good
you're
to be curious
downgrading
about
it.
other cultures.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with being curious.
Because I find that Hispanic cultures, European cultures, are a lot more about family than the American culture. And
Absolutely.
I find that fascinating because I have that like feeling of, wait, why don't I know more of my family than like my aunts and uncles? I don't know any of my cousins. I don't like.
Sure.
We don't have that close knit family.
Right.
But I see other cultures have that.
Yeah.
So I am curious about like how do they create that? And,
Are you?
things like that.
I actually have a theory on this, and it goes back to when and how your family migrated over here.
I mean, we're related. My mom's got like John Hancock in the family tree somewhere, and the original Pinkerton, Alan Pinkerton, that came over from Scotland.
Right. So your family is generations old in America. So that European culture of family has Americanized out, I guess maybe is the best way to say it. Whereas like my family, my grandparents were second generation Americans. The original homestead's still in the family. They're still farming the land. So that family togetherness, bringing everyone together, is still very much part of our culture, our family culture, because it's still like my family just went over and met some of the family that's still over in Czech. Like we can trace that back to the old world, if you will. Whereas you are new world. Like your family is basically here now. Like trying to trace it back after that is going to be a lot harder than it would for me. So I think that has a lot to do with where that family dynamic starts leaving the culture in America. And it's weird because I know a lot of people who say they want to bring it back. They can't figure out how, though. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that in America, to survive, you really have to have a 2-income family. And so if you can't have somebody staying at home all the time with the family and then coming back to the family, you lose a lot of that family dynamic.
We also probably don't, in the American culture, cherish our parents as much either. Whereas in a lot of cultures, the parents live with their children.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And but it matters because, for example, in the Hispanic community, you raise your neighbor's kids. You know what I mean? As a community, you're all involved in, raising kids.
The neighborhood aspect does not exist in America anymore.
No, it doesn't. And
and it's funny because I don't know when it left because I grew up with it. So was I just lucky to live in a small enough town that it still existed and it was actually dead in America?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of things that actually kind of correspond to it because, you talk about 2-income households, right? Well, if parents aren't there at home all day, then they're not there to get that camaraderie with neighbors, to meet other people. Now, we've become a civilization where we just drop our kids off at a daycare, go do our stuff, come back, pick them up, and go straight home, And you look at the way that we lack exposure to vitamin D. Well, that's exactly probably how we lack exposure when it comes to being a human.
Sure.
Because that's it. We have this little busted system where we don't interact with people. Even now, majority of interaction, of course, is online. So
yeah, digital.
Yeah. So it's, a lot of those things are just taken away. And, we've lost the personal and tactile aspects of living. And if it's something we don't correct sooner than later, I think that's going to be a very detrimental thing for us as a race down the road.
SP, I am now convinced next season we're all going to a Husker game. And it's not because I want you to be a Husker fan. It's because I want to give you that sports camaraderie.
Can we do
experience.
October?
I'll have to look
it's
at the
still hot
schedule.
in September, right?
Oh yeah. It's nice. It's not bad. It's nice in September. October can be hit or miss.
Hey, we might have a franchise out there this time next year. So,
well, we'll see what happens. But I'm convinced now. We all need to go to a game so you can just see what that insane unison of people is like, just to experience it. And there's plenty of other places we could get it, I'm sure. But because I'm a Nebraska fan, it's easier for me to be able to take us there and know what that experience already is. Bringing it full circle here a little bit.
Yeah.
From the chop and the chant and being together and that unity that we're saying we would like to see more of within like the community, not just in sports, to college football in Nebraska. For the first time this season, let's talk a little college football, shall we?
Let's do it.
College football playoff rankings officially for the first time came out tonight. They always wait till after week 8.
We've got what, 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks left?
3, 4. End of November. College football done. So, the rankings, a little surprising, to be honest with you. Not so much considering where we're at in the season, but the fact that this could...
Read off the top 10.
This could take so many twists and turns, which I think was what makes it interesting. So, number 1, Georgia. Obvious. Number 2, I think a slight bit of surprise, but it's Alabama. 3 is Michigan State. 4, Oregon. Then Ohio State, Cincinnati, Michigan, Oklahoma, Wake Forest, Notre Dame.
How is Michigan above Oklahoma, who's still undefeated? I know they haven't looked great, but they are still undefeated.
Oklahoma hasn't looked great, and their schedule hasn't been as tough. Michigan's played better teams overall. They barely lost to the number 3 overall team, Michigan State, and that is their only loss. So it's more, from my eyes, the committee rewarding you for having a hard schedule and barely losing. If they got blown out, it wouldn't look this way.
The only way they get to the 4 is to beat Ohio State, and I don't know if
they have to beat Ohio State.
They never
now,
beat Ohio State
because that's the only way they get back to the championship game on that eastern side of the Big Ten bracket. Alabama, Georgia's interesting because they're gonna have to play each other in the championship game most likely, unless something crazy happens.
I just don't see any way that those two teams aren't in the Final Four.
Alabama loses again. There's no way they're in. They can't have 2 losses and be above an undefeated Michigan State team
The SEC will find a way.
Or a 1-loss Ohio State team or Michigan team. Cincy would get in above them as a no-loss team this year. If Alabama had 2 losses, I'm telling you.
There's no way.
Oklahoma would be in. Oregon would be in. Alabama can't lose another game this year. They can't. And right now, people are talking about Georgia as having maybe, arguably, the best defense in college football history. There's people saying they have 11 guys who are going to be drafted within the first 6 rounds on the defensive side. Like, people are talking up this Georgia defense. Oregon's 1 loss was not good, but they did beat Ohio State. So the fact that they're there, I believe they lost to Stanford in an ugly game, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
My college football has been lacking this season for many different reasons, so I apologize, people.
One of those reasons being a baby.
That does have a lot to do with it.
Merrick will take up that time.
Yes, he will. Cincy is undefeated, but they haven't looked spectacular when they needed to, so that's hurting them a little bit. At this point in time, as much as I hate to say it, because I really want to see a little guy finally get in, I don't see a way Cincinnati gets into the Final Four. Michigan wins out, they're in. Ohio State wins out, they're in. Michigan State wins out, they're in. That's 3 Big Ten teams that have potential to be definitely in. There's a scenario where you could get 2 of these Big Ten teams in possibly. There's also a scenario where you could have the Big Ten out completely. So they have to finish strong, all 3 of those teams. Oklahoma's got to win out, and they need some pieces to fall so that they could sneak in. Anybody outside that top 8, I really don't see a chance. Wake Forest is undefeated, but the ACC is down this year. Clemson doesn't look good. Florida State doesn't look good. Wake Forest does not have a
Miami
win.
looks good every other week.
The only chance Wake Forest would have is some of these guys would have to lose to teams that there's just no way they would lose to. So, like, Ohio State's going to have to lose to my guys in Nebraska this weekend. And that's not, as much as I want to see it happen, there's no way that's going to happen. So, I don't think Wake Forest can get in. Notre Dame's out now. They don't have a strength of schedule to keep up being in the ACC as well, and they have a loss. Oklahoma State's got a loss. So if they win out and win actually, you know what? The Big 12 does not have a championship game. So neither one of those teams. Oh, yes, they do now. They changed that. But they'd have to beat Oklahoma, and they'd still have a loss, which doesn't look spectacular, so they're not getting in. Baylor's the same. Auburn's already got 2 losses. Texas A&M's got 2 losses. They'd have to have miracles for teams to lose in front of them for them to get to their championship game to be able to even think about getting in with 2 losses. So, honestly, everybody outside the top 8 doesn't really have a legitimate, based on what I'm looking at here, shot.
Correct.
And even then, that top 8 is a merry-go-round of pieces that need to fall for certain teams to get in. So I personally am super excited to see how this unfolds, because the fact that they have 8 teams that right now all have legitimate shots.
They've already agreed to doing 6 teams, didn't they?
No, they want to jump it to 12. And now that the SEC is stockpiling teams, the other commissioners aren't really a big fan of that idea anymore. So college football's in a world of hurt and mess right now. But for now, the product on the field is still pretty good, and I'm excited to see how this unfolds. As I see it right now, this is my prediction. Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, and I'm actually going to say Georgia blows out Alabama, so they don't even have a shot, and I'm going to say Oklahoma sneaks in as an undefeated and then gets smoked. So Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Oklahoma. That's who I'm going with. We'll see what comes of it. Pinky, with that being said, I do believe we could slide into a little NFL now.
Actually, before we do that.
Oh, yes. What do you have?
Forgot to bring this up with the nonsense part. You guys been keeping up with the Alec Baldwin situation?
Yeah, that's sad.
Dude, I wasn't even going to talk about that.
Dude.
because it's so messed up on so many different levels.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely have a feeling somebody's getting charged for that. Because it's impossible to know that not.
How could you just say that's negligence and nobody gets in trouble for it?
Yeah.
That would be absurd to me.
No. Yeah, there's definitely.
I mean, isn't it the armorer was using the same weapons to go target shoot in between shots?
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin's been on movie sets with firearms before. You telling me he doesn't even think about checking the weapon?
Shouldn't have to.
Yeah, you should if you're going to point it at somebody.
Listen. If you hand me a gun and say, "Don't worry, it's not loaded," I'm like, "I'll tell you if it's not loaded." That's my mentality, okay?
Or how about, let's take a step further. Don't worry, it's not loaded. Point and shoot at that
We're on
person.
completely different levels, though. These guys have everything done for them. There is literally a guy who gets paid to make sure that gun's not loaded.
Well, I don't know if he got
Pinky,
paid
if somebody
that day.
tells you to point a gun at
But,
somebody and says, "Don't worry, it's not loaded, just shoot." Are you just going to pull
If
the
I'm
trigger?
an actor that literally everything is done for me, sure.
God, no. I just could never see myself saying,
here's a
okay.
couple of things, though. My understanding is nobody told him to pull the trigger.
Agreed.
So
I've heard that too.
There was a lot of things, a lot of really shady things going on there. Like, for example, there's a big difference between a prop gun and an actual firearm.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the kind of gun you'll get, to take to a race, right? Shoot the gun off, whatever. You can't put regular bullets in it because they don't have crimped front ends. In other words, it can't happen, right? Because the bullet just simply doesn't fit in there. And you can't pull the trigger. So they're obviously were not using those types of guns on set. So to think that they would use an actual firearm, right, as a prop gun, oof, it's going to be some trouble, man. But anyways, yeah, I don't know if anybody's heard about that, but yeah, Alec Baldwin, guy might be in some trouble down the road. And also the other thing too, before we get into fantasy or football, do you think the Logan Paul Mike Tyson fight's going to happen?
No.
You don't think so?
Logan Paul has way more to lose than that. Mike Tyson has nothing to lose.
Well, I heard that in the documents that they're trying to get signed, that there is a no knockout clause.
Of course there is, because he'd get killed.
Right. Yeah.
Here's the thing
You
about that
can't
fight.
have a no knockout clause in a fight.
Right.
Yeah, you can, because it's all going to be for show.
That's what
because
the
they're
other Paul
both going to get
brother had.
paid.
Yeah.
But this is what I'll be surprised about. If Tyson would be willing to sign a deal like that, because Tyson doesn't like people showing him up.
Right. Well, I think Tyson would do it and literally go there and knock him out and not get paid.
But Tyson was never the best
Sure.
overall boxer. He just had the
What?
he had the strongest punch you've ever had. No,
No, Pinky. He was known for being technical and vicious.
No, he was vicious. He wasn't as technical.
Uh-oh. I see it.
Pinky. I'm not saying he was a technical fighter. I'm saying he was known to be a boxer and vicious.
No,
it wasn't no Wilder who just came out and threw bombs and
yeah,
hoped.
he's not a lame guy, but
Tyson could box.
He's not on the same level boxing technically like Evander Holyfield or Lennox Lewis are. He wasn't. He was not that guy.
I would say
But
him and
he get
Evander are
that-
closer than you think, but
he
Lennox
get
Lewis,
that-
I'll give you. Lennox beat him because of how technically he could be.
He get that glove uppercut on you. You're out. You're done. But
Yeah.
that was
It
his thing.
wasn't just uppercut. It was anything. It was legit. Have you seen him hit the air at 50, whatever he is now? It hurts me, Pinky.
I'm pretty sure 50-year-old Mike Tyson still destroys Logan Paul. I don't doubt
Dude,
that.
that's
I mean,
a
we
question.
would all pay to see it too.
I would.
That
yeah.
I would pay.
And you want to know what?
If I knew there was no knockout
Logan
clause, I
Paul-
wouldn't go anywhere near the
Logan
fight.
Paul, you could literally retire on this fight if you just let him knock you out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think even if there wasn't a no knockout clause, Tyson wouldn't care. I think he'd go in there and light him up.
I'll
and
tell you
walk
right
off.
now, if there was just a real boxing contract signed,
Yeah.
that could probably be the richest person in boxing history. I'm not joking.
It's nuts.
I'd pay for that pay-per-view.
You know what, man? Yeah.
If that was a legit boxing match, and I knew for a fact that was going to be a legit boxing match, I'd buy that fight.
I really want to see Anderson Silva fight one of the Paul brothers.
Yeah, I think that's
That won't
good.
happen either. Because Anderson Silva's a legit boxer, and they don't want to get knocked out.
Yeah. No, they keep picking all the, all these people that are.
One of them, I think, is it Jake that signed? He signed to fight somebody. I thought I saw.
Yeah, but I don't remember who. But anyways, I don't know. I'm a little curious about that to see if it happens. I know there's talks and whatever. And the other thing too is like Mike Tyson legitimately has some issues with him, and you know how he gets when he brings emotion into his fights. I don't know. A little curious about that, but yeah, no, we definitely got a lot of news to get into when it comes to the NFL today.
Man.
Today was a day.
I think we got to start with Caleb's curse.
Oh yeah.
Because his curse is real.
Yeah, this is a terrible situation too.
Honestly, I'll just say this up front, and then I'm probably not going to say another word about this because it seriously hurts my soul. I feel bad for all parties involved. I feel bad for the young man you're about to talk about. I feel bad for the families who lost a loved one. There's nothing good about this situation. I hate it on all sides. There's plenty of lessons to learn, but it sucks. Like I seriously feel sick about it. So go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so we're talking about Henry Ruggs, involved in a automobile accident at about 3:40 this morning, and apparently is getting looked at being charged for 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter because he was intoxicated during the time of a obviously very high-speed accident because there was not much left
his Corvette
of any
was
of
done.
those cars. Yeah, and the Tesla that was hit, so it was a mess, real bad.
I don't know if anybody's driven around Vegas.
Yes.
Vegas is not an easy city to drive in.
No.
There's usually a lot of people. There's a lot of people going fast.
Yeah.
It's all block to block, like very easy to not be paying attention and hit somebody.
Yeah.
If you're inebriated, it's that much easier.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's sad, man. I mean, because really at this point, you're pretty much seeing 3 lives ended in that one scenario.
And it's what's worse. Every team in the NFL pays for transportation.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's inexcusable. There's absolutely no reason for it.
And I get it. You're out there with a cool car, like I'm not that bad, whatever. Like there's no reason that you don't have someone driving you.
Sure.
Period.
Yeah.
You make that kind of money.
And honestly, he could have been 0.08. Like maybe just had a beer and went home. Maybe he wasn't actually drunk, but there was enough on there to be able to charge. We don't know the whole story yet.
Yeah, we don't.
I mean, even if he was not technically drunk, but could blow to be charged with, it still looks like he's driving at a rate of speed that wasn't a good idea.
Nothing good happens at 3 a.m. in the morning.
I keep hearing that, and I hate that saying, dude. I really do. It's the choices you make when you make them.
It's
but that first choice is to be out at 3 a.m. You know what I mean?
I was out 3 a.m. plenty of times and nothing bad happened. I had a great time because I made good choices. Unfortunately, if you think because nobody's around, I could try to do this when I shouldn't do it anyways, and you feel more comfort in the fact that it's 3 a.m., that may be the problem. But I didn't see a bunch of people doing stupid shit during the day when nobody was around with COVID being empty. So it's like this comfort at night. People can't see you. But I don't like it's a choice you made. I don't think the time of day, to me personally, I think that's an excuse.
I think
for the majority of people that go to bed early and aren't hanging out and aren't doing drinking and doing things like that, it's an absolute fact. Good things don't happen after certain time at night.
But you just
you're increasing your risk level.
That's how I look at it. Because whoever's out is probably all out doing the same thing, right? So if everybody's getting out of the bar at 2 a.m, do I want to be driving on the street when everyone's leaving bars? No, not me. But you want to know what? We don't know all the facts. This easily could have been 2 people drag racing, right? And something happened and they got in a car accident. So he could have possibly legitimately been doing nothing other than being stupid and drag racing. Right?
And that's why at this point I just feel sick about the whole situation.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't know. We don't know if he blew a red light. We don't even know if he's the person who caused the accident. We just know he was involved. But the problem is this, right? You've been drinking, you've been driving, and something like this occurs, man. This is exactly what you put yourself in risk of. And that's why it's just not worth it. It's never worth it.
The initial report is he's being charged, which means he's at fault. Could it still come out and say, actually, we found out the other people caused the accident. You're just going to get charged with the DUI? I guess.
Well, we don't. There's no.
Yeah, everything I've seen so far just says he's been charged with the DUI, that it resulted in homicide.
Yeah.
But vehicular manslaughter is what I read he's being charged with.
Yeah.
So that means you're at fault.
Well, it doesn't mean you're guilty. It's just what you're being charged with. So
right. So I'm saying things could still come out, but it's just like Pinky said, you have opportunities to not do that. I get, like Pinky said, you're young, you got a badass car, you want to drive it home.
That's one of the reasons Von Miller has a full setup bar in his basement. They party at his house.
Well, sure.
Because it's easier to party at his house and have someone Uber home, right?
Right. Yeah.
Bring the party to you.
22 years old, man. That's just sad.
So Pinky's mentioning my curse. We all know I'm a big Ruggs guy. Like I saw an insane amount of potential, and I thought he was on the verge of breaking out these next 2 weeks. Talked about it continuously.
He's actually looked pretty good this year.
Yeah, especially with Gruden out of the way.
I thought he was ready to break out. Pinky and I were talking a little bit, and Pinky brought to my attention that this goes a little
Your
deeper
list
than
is bad, bro.
Just my love for Ruggs. Pinky, you go ahead and talk about it. I don't think I should even say anything anymore.
J.K. Dobbins, out.
Yeah.
Paris Campbell, never has been.
Oh.
Yeah.
What else we got so far on the list? Antonio Gibson, who's had flashes, but is like they don't even use him anymore.
Yeah, because he's got a fractured shin bone.
Even when he doesn't, they don't even use him. It's crazy. I mean, at the moment, we could still say at sometimes Justin Fields has been a little cursed. It's still naggy for me, but
hey, he looked pretty good against the 49ers.
He has one good run, and then the rest was not great, man.
He kept
I
up.
don't know. He looked pretty solid considering.
He was making some good reads on the defense. I
It's
think
a good team.
it was the first time I
It's a
thought
good
he
defense.
actually looked.
Yeah, that
He
secondary's
actually looked
whack.
decent. So,
But, I mean, you want to talk me being the curse, then really high on him. What happens? Could have come to Denver where he probably would have been a franchise-winning quarterback. Instead, he goes to Chicago where they've never had a franchise quarterback, and they have a coach who probably just ran what could have been their franchise quarterback out of town. And now it's starting to look like the guy who was there probably might actually be a decent quarterback.
sure.
And the head coach is just the ruiner of all things good.
Yep.
So did I curse Fields by
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky. Now
wanting
he's a
him so
backup.
bad to be here?
It's Caleb's fault.
Yeah. Jeez. Oh, man.
Speaking of backup,
There's
I
another
didn't even
one.
think about Trubisky.
God damn.
If Caleb likes him coming out of college,
yeah,
don't draft that guy in
right.
fantasy.
Yeah, you want to know what?
Dude, I might be set for a terrible fantasy run here soon. This is not good, Pinky.
Yeah.
I'm honestly worried about this. Like, legitimately worried about this. Because it's not just like two guys and it's
Deshaun
coincidence.
Watson.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Deshaun
shit.
Watson's
Fuck.
the other one. Yep. Yeah.
God,
So
this
pretty
feels sad
listen.
and really good at the same time.
right. Well,
Like,
now,
I don't, this isn't who I usually am. I don't really believe in this stuff. But this is a lot of cards on the table that don't look good for me.
right.
You're like
I mean,
the
literally,
Madden
I started
curse.
talking high on Deshaun Watson. And like 2 weeks later, all that shit came out.
Yep. Actually, it was all the previous season going into the new
Yeah.
season.
Ruggs, I've been doing the same.
Yeah,
Oh,
talking
man.
You don't
This
like
is-
Dak, do you?
Talking about this is.
I was high on Dak. Him and I have been
he's
talking
screwed
about it.
now.
Nope. Don't work that way.
I hope not, because like, was this the precursor with his little injury?
Don't
God, if
you-
I ruin Dak, I'm gonna be
don't
even
you
more
Put
upset.
that curse on us, Ricky Bobby.
Oh God.
Who else do you like? Let's
Maybe it's like Final Destination, dude, and it just skipped Dak.
I hope so.
I don't know. Dak did go out last year. Just saying.
Yeah. He's been.
He's been a little banged up this year too.
Let's hope he comes back healthy and there's no more issues.
I hope so. I want to see a healthy Dak Sunday.
If there's more issues, we have a problem.
right.
I already think I have a problem. I don't want anybody else to have a problem.
Speaking of backups, though, how come nobody went for Marcus Mariota? I don't understand.
I think he's still hurt.
Huh?
No, he's back.
Yeah, he's fine.
Is he back?
Yeah.
'Cause I
Last
know
weekend.
he had that 30-yard run and then he pulled like his hammy or something.
Dude,
Yeah, he was on the sidelines suited up last week.
Can you imagine him like on the Saints?
I
I think that's a great play.
Yeah.
Actually,
think
I called that at the beginning of the year after when after Breeze retired and we knew he wasn't going to be there. I'm like, dude, I'd go after Marcus Mariota.
I don't think the Raiders are willing to give him up. I think they know what they have, and they're more than willing to pay him as that backup and just keep him right now. That's what I think.
I don't know.
I mean, right now they're still in good position for the playoffs. So why
Sure.
not have that? Unless somebody's giving you a really good offer.
We need to get into this actually, because are the Raiders still a legitimate playoff team?
I think
Henry
so.
Ruggs is a hit, dude. That's
That's-
huge hit to that offense.
He had been coming on. He's made some big plays.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
Their run game has been looking pretty poor. And then at this point, then all you have is Edwards, Renfro and Waller. And, without that deep threat, like how scary is that offense really when you don't have to cover the vertical threat
Yeah.
and that. So
That changes their offense a lot, I feel like.
yeah, well, not to mention, it's like, dude, all these things have to add up too emotionally. You know what I mean? Like, when does it start
God, I
bothering
know. I
players?
can't even
lose
imagine.
your coach, you lose a player. How many players do you think were partying with Ruggs that last night?
I don't know. I know he had posted some photos of him at Topgolf. I'm assuming he wasn't by himself.
Yeah, that's my point, man. How many of his teammates are you going to sit there and say, why didn't he just come ride home with me? Right?
Why didn't I tell him not to get in the car?
Yeah,
Why didn't start
exactly.
blaming themselves?
Dude, all that stuff is going to absolutely mess everybody up, So, like, I guarantee you are not going to be seeing, like, this is their bye week coming up, though, right? No, their bye week was this last week.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, you're gonna see it, man. People are going to be distracted and
They're either going to
to
bond together or it's going to break them apart.
Well, let's start running through it. We got
Yeah.
All right. Week 9. Where's my Thursday night? Oh, there it is. God, what a turd. Jets Colts.
Jets Colts. You want to know what? Jets might
Did
win.
you guys see that bet?
So- no.
Yeah, the dude put a
1,000.
It was 1,000. Put $1,000 down for White to be the highest passing yard total for week 8. Won him 125 grand.
So
What? Did he go to
obviously-
school with that guy? Like,
obviously he had 1,000 to burn.
yeah.
So that's essentially what you're doing.
Depends on the information you're working with. Like, for example, I put money that Cedric Wilson was going to score a touchdown and go over 60 yards from the Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
Because Cooper Rush and Wilson had the most practice time together.
Did
right?
that happen?
Absolutely, it did.
Yeah,
Okay.
but logical reasoning there.
Sure, right?
There is nothing about the Jets season or this quarterback that said he's going to throw for 405
wanna
yards.
But you want to know what? Like, according to the fantasy, draft books, they didn't think it was a good bet because that was a really good payout.
Well, yeah, since he had the top 5 defense, their offense has been playing lights out. What makes you think this dude's going to have enough opportunities to throw for 405 yards, let alone then actually do it when he had
And
the
I don't think
opportunity?
they've thrown for more than 250 in a game this year. So
No, he came. What was the stat? That he's thrown the most yards in one game in Jets history as a quarterback.
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So some backup comes in and does that.
He's also like the first person in their first start since Cam Newton to throw for over 400.
You know what's going to be really funny
it's nuts.
is how this dude just took the job away from Zach Wilson, their number 2 overall pick.
The coach didn't even debut it on the. They asked him in the press conference, "Is it possible he could be your starting quarterback?" And he's like, "Anything's possible." You just drafted a guy number 2, and you're gonna literally just throw him under the bus like that.
Yeah,
Trade the number 1 away.
Can you
Or I
imagine?
guess he was number 2 overall too.
Number 2.
Trade Darnold away. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Well, he got hurt because we were inept when it comes to coaching and game planning.
Yeah.
But luckily enough, this dude who we picked up off the streets who we didn't think would be anything anyways, is going to be our
And
franchise
obviously,
quarterback.
neither did the Bengals.
I tell you what, if they go in and they beat the Colts because of homeboy slinging,
I don't think they beat the Colts. I mean, the line's 10.5.
dude. Okay, are you going to tell me that the Bengals aren't a better team than the Colts?
I think the Bengals are a pretty darn good team.
Colts are a better team.
I disagree with that.
Slightly.
Right now,
Slightly.
I do not believe that that's the case. By the end of the season, maybe.
I do because part of the Colts' issues so far have been health.
I still like the Bengals. Top to bottom, I like the Bengals.
Right.
We'll
So
see.
that's kind of my point. You know what I mean? Because when the Jets can go in there and they could pull an upset like that, I don't know, man.
I think everything returns back down to earth and the Colts win by 10 or so.
I mean, I'll take the Colts. It's 10.5 points. I'll take them less than 10.5.
man? I might be putting money on the Jets this week. Let's
That'll
see.
be interesting.
Ooh.
That'll be interesting.
It ain't going to be no grand on him going over 400 yards. All right.
Let's put that money where your mouth is. Let's
Yeah.
go.
All right, next.
Bills Jaguars. That's another turd. 14 points for the Bills, though.
Look, here's what I'm going to say. And we'll kind of be talking about all these storylines as we go through the games, but Urban Meyer has to be the happiest man in the NFL over the last 3 weeks because it just keeps story after story somehow just keeps popping up that allows his name to stay out of everybody's
Don't
mouth.
worry. As long as they keep losing really bad, he's not going to be out of trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to maintain his job after this year. I'm just saying his name isn't
Yeah.
in people's mouths the way it should be.
Right. Yeah. Luckily, everything else keeps trending over him. So, yeah.
So, man's lucking out. They lose big.
Yeah, I think I would definitely take Bills. I might even take plus the 40.
They don't have Robinson, right? there's a possibility he's injured,
day to
right?
day, yeah.
So yeah, that when their best guy's not suiting up that day, and as long as your coaches
take
are
the Bills.
wired.
Take the Bills. Falcons Saints. Saints are 6-point favorites.
No, I'll take the
Jump
Saints
on that
then
right
all
now.
day. Yeah,
You want the Saints in 6 points? Or no, they're 6-point favorites.
the Falcons are 6-point favorites. You
No,
just said.
no. The Saints are 6-point favorites.
Oh no, I
Wow,
don't like that.
without a defined quarterback,
Yeah.
there's 6 points.
I don't like that. Then I thought you were saying the Falcons were 6-point
Get-
favorites.
you
go
wanna-
get the
I'll take
Falcons
that.
in 6 points.
I will say this though, for them to beat the Bucks, that's
It says two things to me. The defense is actually good when they want to show up.
When they decide to show up,
Yeah.
which they have their best games against Brady for some
Seems
reason.
to be.
that's
And
it.
two, Sean Payton's a badass coach. I don't know how you say anything otherwise. I just don't.
If they play Taysom Hill, take the Falcons into 6 points.
Why Taysom Hill's a winning record as a starting quarterback.
yeah. And
I
it's
know you
all-
keep
and it's-
hating on him.
and it's all because
As
of
a
him.
starting
I know
running
you
back,
keep
yeah.
hating
Yeah.
on him, but here's the deal. I don't give a shit what my numbers say if you're winning me games.
Dude, he is the dollar store version of Tim Tebow. Okay,
But he's winning.
I don't care. I don't care.
Fantasy-wise, awful, atrocious, yuck. Real life football, with Sean Payton, dude wins football
Well, you
games.
can throw a Mike White, you can throw a Cooper Rush when you have a good defense, and you can run the football.
True.
We'll see what happens. Saints win that game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mainly because the Falcons suck so bad, but
Well, Ridley's gone now.
Yeah.
That defense is God only knows what.
Gage-
The offense
Gage,
looks like it's
first
clicking.
game back, he didn't get anything.
No, he did his first game back, which is why I put him in this last weekend.
And he
then they
put
got
up
a
goose
turd.
egg.
And he got 0 looks.
Yeah.
He tied for the most offensive snaps and had 0 looks.
Yeah.
And he's arguably their number 1 receiver now.
How's that even
what
possible?
happened? I did not
How
understand
did
that at
Tajay
all.
Sharp get all the looks?
You know what it is when people try to get too cute, right? They're like, "Oh, I know you think he's going to be the guy, so I'm going to develop a different plan."
God only knows what Matt Ryan and him have a connection. Like last year, he was on fire. So what happened there? I don't. Saints win. Next.
Yeah.
Patriots, Panthers. 4-4 versus 4-4.
You ready for this?
Doesn't
Are you ready for this?
Oh, this one's easy.
Patriots make the playoffs.
I don't know about that, but Patriots are going to win
I
this
said
game.
at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to double down now. I'm not just saying they sneak in and maybe fighting for a set. I think they're in the playoffs. I think that win this last weekend put them in the playoffs.
That defense is coming on.
What's funny is I was thinking that, and then I heard who was talking about it this morning. Somebody on Get Up said the same thing, and I was like, oh, thank God I'm not the only idiot that's about to say this.
You want to know what? They gave the Cowboys a run. That was a rough game for us.
With a
So,
rookie QB who's still trying to figure stuff
That defense is playing really good right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are playing really
They're
good.
going to start opening up that playbook little by little for Mac as the season goes on,
I
too.
think so,
I think
too.
the Patriots
Yeah.
are going to be sneaky, dude.
I could easily see. Them
I
getting
don't.
the
I'm not
playoffs.
ready to go playoffs yet, but I think they are a pretty good team.
Here's what I'm going to say. Based on everything you've seen through the course of this season, give me 2 teams that you would say in the AFC are definitively, for sure, they're going to beat the Patriots.
All I know is there's 4 teams in the AFC North right now that could technically make the playoffs. So
Nope, Pinky. Give me 2 teams that you would say going into the game, like if they played Sunday, they are definitively beating the Patriots.
Well, I
Give
think-
me 2 teams in the AFC.
I mean, I'll take a healthy Browns team. I'll take
I'm
the
not
Bengals.
no right now, Pinky. I'm not saying healthy. I'm saying
Yeah.
right now, because
Bills
Browns the
will
way they're
definitely do
trending.
it.
And
Who?
The Bills.
Okay, I'll give you the Bills. Give me a second one. NFC is a completely different story. AFC, I don't think I can give you 2 teams that would definitively beat the Patriots on a Sunday. I will say the Bills. I will agree with you on that. I can't give you another AFC team right now that I can say would definitively beat them.
I think Baltimore would.
that was my second one.
I wouldn't say that's definitively.
I-
Baltimore's looked trash a couple weeks.
2 weeks out of their 7.
They've proven they have grit though, like to make.
I'm not
that.
saying they can't grab, but so have the Patriots. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I mean, it's a very different kind of grit.
I am just saying, like, I don't think. And
So-
if you guys want to have those, but could you give me a third then?
I still like the Bengals.
After the Bengals lost to the Jets, boy, does that make that a tough argument.
I mean, there was quite a few referee helpers in there to get the Jets the win. But again, at the end of the day, when the Patriots walk into any game, they have the best coach out there. So
it makes you think a little bit though now, doesn't it? Like
But
it's not just Patriots aren't doing anything. It's oh shit, they're probably legit.
If Henry wasn't hurt, I would have definitely said the Titans.
I could have given you that, but he is.
Yeah. So
And I can't give that anymore.
right.
And I don't agree with the Baltimore, but I'll give you guys Baltimore if you want to go that road.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you start looking at that then, playoff team.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? I mean, you can't.
well,
Well, they got a lot-
I'd
I'll
take
fight.
I'd take the Patriots over the Chiefs right now.
I mean, absolutely, I would too. The Chiefs look terrible.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go with that. I take the Raiders over the Chiefs right now.
Agreed.
Let's go next.
Another turd. Texans, Dolphins.
I actually don't think that's a turd. I'm actually kind of excited to see what Tua does this week. Trade deadline's gone. They're not going to go after Watson anymore. He's actually started to progress and look like a pretty decent QB right now.
Dolphins should win this game.
They've got some weapons starting to get healthy again. I actually kind of Miami, what are they? We all had them playoffs this year fighting. What do they start turning things around? I'm kind of interested to see this.
They're 1-7, so it doesn't matter what they do. They're
Well, I
not
know,
in the
but
playoffs.
It's tough to get worse. But
That is true.
yeah. Honestly, I think Dolphins win this, and I think they win it because it doesn't matter. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's probably true.
Yeah.
Vikings, Ravens.
The Ravens, dude. God, the Vikings just look bad, man.
I just can't say that because right now I'm starting to look
So,
at the Ravens
the
like
Vikings
the Vikings.
over the
any given
last-
Sunday, they could play best team in the
Well,
NFL or they could be the worst team.
This is the Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins can play his worst game. The following week, he can have a freaking monster game. He is that erratic.
Dalvin Cook
Which
is
Kirk
back.
Cousins do we get?
Dalvin Cook's back and healthy.
I mean, he was
Like-
back and healthy last week.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm just saying he's got all his weapons. So, like you're saying, he could be. You like that? You like that? Or you just don't hear about it.
I mean, I think it's a good game. Ravens are favored by 6.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't see that. I don't.
I don't think it's going to be that close of a game.
Ooh.
I actually see this as a trip up game for Baltimore.
Chargers, Eagles.
Yo,
This is the craziest line that I've seen. So
what
far.
is it?
Chargers by 2.
I like that line, actually. After what Philly did last week and what the Chargers did last week, I like that line. Chargers should run away with this. Should.
Dude, like the Chargers keep looking really bad when they should
What
be
happened?
looking good. I don't know.
They were
what's
4-1.
going on.
Now they're 4-3.
Look
Yeah.
really good when they need to
Dude,
look really good, and then they look really bad when they should just smoke somebody.
Yeah, man.
Watching the Chiefs and the Chargers the last 2 weeks gives me at least that glimmer of hope. Like,
Yeah.
maybe the Broncos could beat. Maybe they could beat
Yeah.
them.
I mean, only to get absolutely smoked the first round, but whatever. At least you could say you got there. You know what I mean?
Chargers should win this.
They should win it.
I do like though with this head coach in Philly's getting these guys to play this year.
Dude, Jalen Hurts he's playing pretty
It's
decent.
actually a top 5 fantasy quarterback.
I know because I have him. in one
You
of my
build
leagues.
around him properly. You keep calling plays for him properly.
Sure.
You fix your O line. You can get a little more pieces around him healthy.
I think they're going to get greedy, though. They have 3 top 10 picks. They're going to get greedy.
Dude, you get a couple offensive linemen and another wide receiver for him. Oh my God, they would be dangerous.
Take that defensive end from Oregon, get an offensive
You
lineman.
could do that easily.
Get a tall wide receiver to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, he hasn't played poorly, but he's got two wide receivers that do the same thing. Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith do pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I disagree.
Smith's better,
Well,
but they have the same skill set.
They also had that
Speed
connection, right?
and small guys. They don't have like
Devontae Smith though runs every route. That dude's precision based. Like Rager's not. Rager's a deep threat more so than anything. Smith isn't just a deep threat. That dude is a wide receiver. The problem is he's a rookie.
Well,
And when you could double him at times, and Hurts isn't known as like your pocket passer on timing, I think the rapport has to come.
So you know what would help? A big ass wide receiver that he could just throw the ball to that's always open.
I feel like they have that in Goddard though, and they have a great rapport
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
Goddard's good, but no. Get him
Yeah.
an outside wide receiver that can just go up and get the ball when he's not completely accurate.
that doesn't hurt.
That's what helped Cam Newton. That's what made Cam Newton look halfway decent his first couple of years because
Well,
he
yeah.
had Kelvin Benjamin and
Sure.
he had like every 6'4" wide receiver you
Yeah.
could get.
Right.
Yeah, I personally, I don't think you need that. I think the quick, fast guys like they're kind of talking about with Rager and Smith are good because he's more of a scrambler, not necessarily a pocket passer where you're going to throw it up. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I agree with you. It doesn't hurt. I mean, look what Claypool's doing for Pittsburgh. But I think they're still a year or two away with some pieces. I think if they go after quarterback in the draft, though, they made a huge mistake.
Yeah, agreed.
Cardinals 49ers. This is a pick'em game at the moment.
This is a get-right game for the Cardinals, and they smoke them.
That's tough. Kyler Murray has not looked good lately.
Like
Last
I
3
said-
weeks, he has not looked
Like
good.
I said, this is a get-right game. Now, here's my fear, though. My get-right game might be a bad prediction if Kyler actually isn't healthy, and he does have some kind of leg issue.
I haven't
like
heard of
there's
him being
speculation.
unhealthy, but just the last 3 games I've
No,
watched
there's some
him,
speculation that he's got a tweaked ankle or maybe a hand or something where it's not allowing him to fully burst and run like he normally
He
does.
is starting to look like Kyler Murray of last season.
after he got hurt.
Yeah, that's my fear. But I'm going to say he's healthy. Just a couple off weeks. I'm going to say this is a get-right game for them. They win by 10+.
Titans Rams.
Well, Titans did have
This
a
is
chance.
the Sunday night game.
Titans did have a chance.
I think they're still a good team, but I think they just lost the front-running MVP.
The
And that's
offense
a
runs
huge
through
loss.
Henry.
Dude, especially going to play the Rams. Vaughn's playing this weekend.
Yes.
Von Miller's playing. Him, Donald, and Ramsey are going to run Ragshaw.
Don't forget Leonard Floyd,
I don't
who's
give a
actually been a really good pass rusher.
Yep, he's been good. I don't give a shit anymore. Like, you're an added benefit now that Von Miller just showed up. Are you kidding me? Von Miller gets to do what he does best now and just pass rush the shit out of quarterbacks.
Hopefully.
Why would they do anything else?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, and obviously Von's an all-around great player, but
he is one
oh
of the
my
best
God.
players against the run.
Yeah.
He's fantastic against the run. But when you have an aging player who's built around speed, why do you even have him in on running downs? Just put him in passing downs.
Why? Because he's one of the best people against the run,
I
Pinky.
know,
So here's
but-
the problem. They now have arguably the best dude against the run and the pass in Donald. They now have arguably the second best dude against the run and the pass in Von Miller. They have Little, like you just talked about. So where's the double team now?
You're double teaming Donald still.
Oh, okay. So you just allowed Von Miller a little to sack your quarterback almost every play.
Hey, Donald's got the quickest path to the quarterback because it's a straight
Wait,
line.
don't they stack that side though? Isn't he coming up off the end?
No, Donald.
Right up the middle,
DT.
baby.
Oh, okay.
He's got the fastest line to the quarterback. You have to double
So
team
yes,
Donald.
exactly. So you're screwed because you're not going to be able to step up into the pocket with Donald there,
All right.
and you're not going to be able to go out one of the sides with Little and Von Miller there. So what in God's name do you think people are going to be able to do against that defense now?
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
With Jalen Ramsey.
Yes.
And that's not even, in my opinion, that's not the worst part. You're also missing out on the fact that offense puts up numbers.
That was going to be my next point.
Yeah.
Your defense is constantly going to be on the field, and you have limited opportunities.
Yeah.
What
It's-
happens when you have limited opportunities?
That's rough,
You
man.
start forcing things.
I
Who are they playing, Pinky? Doesn't matter. Rams, Super Bowl favorites right now. That one move, for me, Super Bowl favorites.
I still think the NFC's tough, man.
Yes,
Any
it
given
is.
Sunday, the Bucks could beat the Rams. The Packers are playing great lately. Packers defense has been playing much better. The Cowboys, absolutely, with Dak healthy, is a really good
Bucks
opponent.
out. Their secondary's trash. Bucks are out.
But they have 2 guys coming back. They're not on IR. They're
Bucks
coming back.
Bucks are out. Their secondary's trash.
That's not how it works.
Now I said this last year
They're
too,
coming
and
back from
they
injury.
figured it out, and they ended up winning and went on a 8-0 run or something like that. Never lost again after I said it. But I'm doubling down again
if
this
those
year.
corners were out for the season, I would agree
Bucks
with
are
you.
out.
They are coming back.
Bucks aren't going to figure it out to beat these teams. They're out. Rams, Cowboys, top 2. Rams are my favorite right now just because of the way they are just that offense is absurdly clicking.
Rams, Bucks,
you know,
Cowboys, Packers, Cardinals.
I really wouldn't doubt if it's Rams Cowboys in NFC Championship game.
Packers, I like a lot, and they were my Super Bowl pick, so we know how much I'm on the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon. I think he's now the prohibitive MVP favorite because he's doing more with less compared to everybody else.
I think Stafford's in there and Brady.
They're in there. I think Rodgers is doing more with less, though.
That's kind of been his MO. You know what I mean?
But he's doing the same numbers as everybody else, too, that's why he is so great. I think he's the MVP runner.
I don't know, man.
That's me. That's what I got.
Stafford, Brady, Rodgers are the top 3 guys right now.
I just can't see how. Dude,
Derek Carr 4th.
the idea that you can have Donald and Vaughn both rushing the passer and Ramsey is completely taking away one of your sides, that blows my mind. I can't see how Dallas is getting a decent pass rush with Gregory now and Parsons, but it's not going to be on that level
right now.
Yeah.
It's not going to be on a Donald.
And Parsons has people running for their
I
life.
agree. And I've talked about Parsons with you. Like, we know.
A linebacker that's running a 4.4.
Dallas is dangerous. You're talking about 2 dudes who are up and coming versus 2 dudes who are first ballot Hall of Famers, possibly still playing in their prime. Maybe at the back end, but still in their prime.
Yeah.
I can't just
listen.
Look what the NASCAR package did for the Giants. This is above that.
As long as the Rams stay healthy, they don't have no depth behind those.
Pinky,
guys.
stop saying that with everything.
That's the fact, man. That NASCAR package worked because they were literally 7 linemen deep.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Seattle's NASCAR
but they were
package,
all healthy. Like,
when
everybody's
Seattle-
going to be good if you're healthy, Pinky.
When the Seattle defense was really awesome, they had the Legion of Boom. Their their 7 pass rushers, they just rotate them in and out.
All healthy.
Perfect. All healthy.
One of them
Again,
wasn't. They probably wouldn't be talking about
Health
it today.
matters. That's going to be the big thing about the NFL.
we appreciate that PSA.
But the Rams have literally nobody behind those guys. Period.
Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl favorites, if healthy.
Hey, Kellen Moore can work some magic, all right? I'm just saying. Not with Beneducci. We proved that. All right? That's the cutoff, all right? That's the cutoff. Kellen Moore says, I can't do that again. Get him out of here.
Hit me next, Pinky.
I can't work
Hit me
with that.
next.
Last game.
It's the game we're going to. Broncos,
So
Cowboys.
let's move into it. Look,
That's right.
Now,
your boys are dangerous this year. If Dak's out, you guys are done. Like, let's just be
Dak's
honest.
playing. He's going to
No, I'm just saying if he got hurt, like if he couldn't play the season, your season's done. Cooper Rush is not going to be able to get you over the hump.
No, probably
No.
not.
He could win.
No.
He could probably win you the NFC East, though.
I think you could still get into the playoffs. Yeah,
We're
yeah,
definitely getting through the NFC East. It's just that.
yeah.
first
That's
play-
I mean, you pretty much already clinched it. So let's not. But without Dak, you're not going anywhere in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Broncos, I'm going to say this time and time again. Broncos fans, I will probably never let you forget this. And if they keep going down this road, I might not even be a Bronco fan anymore. I don't know. This is just ugly. Keeping this staff, not drafting Fields, and moving forward into this season the way you did is the death of the franchise. Like, this is Purgatory 101, and I don't see...
Unfortunately,
the only way they come out of this, Pinky, is if they luck into Aaron Rodgers. That is the only way this changes. And if that doesn't happen next year, you are looking at one of the worst franchises in the NFL for the next decade.
things can change quickly. It won't be a decade, but they are definitely one of the worst franchises over the last decade. But it all goes along with ownership.
Sure, of course.
And I had a buddy probably 4 years ago. He was just like, "Man, we really need to sell this team. We really need to get new ownership." And I was like, we should be okay. He was right. He was right. We need ownership.
I like how Pinky acts like there's only been one buddy telling him that.
He told me before you.
Doubtful.
No, he told me before you. We've been friends for 12 years.
Well, he didn't think it before me. I'm going to call that right now.
So he'd been saying it. And Caleb is right. We need new ownership. There has to be a figurehead. Again, the same thing with Green Bay. There really needs to be a figurehead that says, hey, this is what I want. And they hold other people accountable.
Green Bay has that. Ted Thompson into new
they
eras.
Don't really have that.
They keep winning somehow, Pinky, so they got to have somebody doing it.
You should when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback followed by another Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yep.
That keeps you winning.
I'll agree with that. Yeah. I'll agree with that.
You have two of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. You have 2 rings to show for it.
I'll agree that's bad. Agree that's bad. So okay, I'm coming around to your point a little bit here. There is some truth to what you're talking about.
There's nobody to be accountable there.
I'll give you. There's some truth there. However, the Broncos have had time and time again a chance to draft that next franchise quarterback and time again failed to make the right decision.
Look, I even said
and then, Pinky, they double down on the terrible decision and double it worse. And they've been doing that since Peyton left. And I've said it before, and I know I made you mad, and I exaggerate a little bit, but Peyton Manning doesn't look into the Denver Broncos, or if the Denver Broncos don't look into Peyton Manning, this is the worst organization in the NFL over the last 15 years.
Not the worst. They're still the
worst.
Bengals. They're still the Bengals, the Browns, and the Lions.
Bengals were making the playoffs, at least, with Andy Dalton. They were winning 10 games a year with Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis as the head coach.
That roster was pretty stacked at that time. They'd had enough draft picks, capital.
The Broncos have a stacked roster and quarterbacks that are arguably as talented as Andy Dalton. And they're below 500.
They have a really crappy coaching staff.
And they kept hiring him. Look, Vance Joseph actually might have been a good coach. They did him no service whatsoever
Vance
with the
Joseph
roster.
is actually a serviceable defensive coordinator. He's not a good head coach.
Well, you said that about Fangio, too, and that doesn't look true anymore either.
No, the Broncos have given up 9 touchdowns for the season on defense. 9 for the whole season. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
They got a bend but break mentality.
You have a really crappy offense that's not scoring any points to help you out.
It gets compoundingly difficult.
Right?
Yes.
But the defense as a whole is actually, if you look at it, pretty good. They're getting no pressure. You get a couple pressures from Jonathan Cooper. You get a couple from Shelby Harris. You got a couple from Vaughn early in the season.
The head coach was putting arguably one of the top 5 pass rushers in NFL history into coverage.
Well, Vance Joseph did that too, which drives me nuts. The only defensive coordinator that Vaughn has been under that did not put him in coverage was Wade Phillips.
Because he's smart.
Because Wade Phillips is like, I'm not going to waste that guy in coverage. He can cover.
He's great at it.
Two plays in coverage, Super Bowl run. He was in coverage in the Patriots game. He got an interception off of Tom Brady because he actually went the wrong direction and ended up picking off a pass meant for Gronkowski. And then he ran 30 yards down the field and broke up a pass in the Super Bowl that would have gone for, like, it would have been first and goal if the guy caught it. Jericho Cotchery. Cotchery actually caught the ball and Vaughn knocked it away.
Here's the deal. Is Vaughn really good at everything? Yes, that's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I don't ask Steph Curry to dribble the ball up the court and then pass it. I ask Steph Curry to dribble the ball up the court and bomb threes for days and make us win.
He doesn't need to go up the court.
He just throws it wherever he's at.
Fine, even better.
Look, I will never argue that point.
You want to drop Vaughn into coverage from time to time? I get that. Scheme-wise, it could throw some people off. But what should he be doing 90% of the time? Running at the quarterback.
You drop Von Miller into coverage like that one time a season that the quarterback's not expecting it.
Yeah.
That one time.
Yeah.
And
on a 3rd and 12, on a prime opportunity where they think we're trying to just keep you from going anywhere.
So,
boom, done.
I still think overall the Cowboys are going to smash this game. I mean, it's a 9.5-point line. Dak's going to play. They're going to smash.
Dak plays, they win by 21
I'm going to bet
plus.
the Cowboys. And I'm watching the game in Dallas Stadium with the Broncos jersey on.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet the Cowboys. It's going to be a win-win for me.
That's because it's just smart. Yeah.
It's a smart way to go.
Yeah.
But
21 plus if Dak plays.
I do like the idea of just continuing. I think George Payton is still a good GM. Yes.
Nope. He's either a really good really good GM who's being told what to say and do right now and he's biding his time, or he is one of the worst GMs in the NFL. And there is no gray area in between that. As far as I'm concerned,
he got a 2nd and 3rd round pick for a guy who's a free agent at the end of the season. That's a pretty good deal.
I don't think it's that good of a deal. I think that's his value in any.
That's a fantastic deal.
Yeah, I think there was plenty of 2nd and 3rd rounders out there who would have paid that for that if they're in
Dallas
contention.
Came with like a 5th. Dallas was in on that deal. They got a 2nd and a 3rd for a 33-year-old pass rusher who was hurt all last year.
I'm not saying Broncos didn't do well on the deal. I think that's Vaughn's value, though. I do.
He traded a cornerback today that's a rookie. It was a 7th-round draft pick. He got a 6th-round pick for him. That's a pretty good deal for a guy who hasn't touched the field all year.
Why are you keeping Melvin Gordon?
Why
are you keeping Teddy Bridgewater?
Okay,
if you don't get a good deal for those guys, why trade them?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but what do you think people?
Why keep them?
What?
If you already owe them the money, why are you trading them away for nothing? Like, you've got to get something
Because
for them.
Melvin Gordon is just hindering Javonte Williams.
Plus, we don't know if they even got any good offers.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater for a conditional seventh. Conditional seventh would have been a good offer.
If
Pinky.
anybody called for that, we don't. I saw no reports today that said anybody called about Teddy Bridgewater. There was Kyle Fuller, and there was mentions
Pinky,
that Melvin Gordon.
if you're a
was
good
out there.
GM, you shouldn't be waiting for somebody to call you. You should be unloading
phone calls.
as quickly as you possibly can for anything when you know you have assets that don't have any value come next year.
Again,
Melvin Gordon, Teddy Bridgewater hold zero value next year.
Right, and that's why, like, I don't understand why you thought offers were coming.
No, I'm not saying offers were coming. I'm saying you should have made a deal.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should have found a way to
Listen,
make a deal.
Listen, your GM's not the only person who knows there's no value there. Okay, like who? Okay, name another team that was struggling so bad that they're like, God, I can't wait to get our hands on Gordon or
Tennessee
Bridgewater.
Titans. Tennessee Titans should have definitely given a 4th round pick for Gordon right now.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You pull a guy off the couch versus a guy who's already got like 6 touchdowns this year.
Excuse me. Name that person they pulled off the couch. Don't put it that way.
And then they didn't even
What's his
sign,
name, Pinky?
They didn't even sign him to the active
What's
roster. They
his
put him on the
name?
practice
What's
squad.
his name, Pinky?
Yeah, because they wanted to make sure they didn't have to pay him. That's just a smart
Adrian
business
Peterson.
move.
That's right. Adrian Peterson. I'm taking him too. Because he's Adrian Peterson.
Yo, let's be honest.
He doesn't age.
Baltimore should have been inquiring about Melvin Gordon.
Yes, that's a great deal too. I'd agree with you on that. They have every other over the hill running back.
You telling me he couldn't have called Baltimore and said, "You want Melvin Gordon for a
Might as
fifth?"
well
And
give
they would
him
have
the-
said no?
Might as well
You
be
telling me
able
they would
to
have
give him
said no to
triple
that?
digits. You know what I mean?
I don't know what their salary cap looks like, unless we agreed to pay the
No,
money as
don't
well.
pull a Greg bullshit salary cap. Any smart front
only-
office can manipulate the cap any way
Okay,
they want to.
So what happened in the Von Miller deal? How did we get a second and a third out of that deal? We ate the 9 points. We ate $9 million of that 9.7. The Rams are only paying him $700,000. That's
Yeah.
how they afforded him.
Because it's worth the second. You smart money makes money, Pinky. Why do the Rams keep getting rid of draft picks and keep being good? Maybe they figured something else out that everybody else should be looking a little closer at.
As we all know, that bill is going to come due.
Sure.
Fine. If it gets you a Super
It's the
Bowl,
same
though,
thing
is
the
it worth
Bucks are
it?
doing. The Bucks are pushing it down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Not like the Rams. The Rams are basically saying, and I love the thought, and I've wondered why nobody's done this before. We will keep taking proven talent and trading away
Well,
all our draft picks to do that.
They're doing it in different ways. The Bucks are doing it with money.
Yeah.
The Rams are doing it with draft picks.
The Bucks aren't really doing it. They basically said, we'll spend everything we can to bring everybody back and run this back if we
Yeah,
can.
and
They'll
the-
never be able to do it a second time.
Right. No, absolutely not. Because, listen, nobody's restructuring their deal if they don't get it. You
No.
know what I mean?
Even if they do get it, they're not restructuring their deal
They
a second
can't.
time.
There's not.
You
gonna
got to
be
make your money.
The
while
Rams are
money's there.
literally saying, we don't need draft picks. We're going to keep trading for proven talent. We don't care if we don't have depth. We're winning, and we're going to keep winning this way.
You're gonna buy that. Actually, you don't even have to buy it. I'm gonna get you the Von Miller Cowboys jersey next year.
I don't want it.
He's gonna be a Cowboy.
For what, dude? Listen, we just got rid of Jalen Smith.
Free.
We just got rid of Jalen Smith.
Dude, you're just going to sign him.
Yeah.
Why?
He's a
'Cause he
free
wants to be a
agent. Why
Cowboy.
wouldn't you? You're not paying him a $80 million salary anymore. It's going to be closer to the vet minimum.
No, he's still gonna ask for about $10 million a year.
Babe, I said it's closer to the vet minimum than it is the $80 million.
I'm just saying, we don't need him. Our linebacker talent's pretty solid.
No, you do need him because he's not a linebacker. He's a pass rusher.
Yeah, you need
And
a pass
you do
rusher.
need that.
If you had him,
That is the one area where you guys could really use some help.
Well, I mean,
if you could have,
Because
if
you could let Micah Parsons
Yeah.
roam.
Yeah, if
We
you could
have-
let Micah Parsons stay where he's at and add him into the pass rush when you need it, because you had Vaughn, you had Randy on each side.
Does he pass rush great? Yes. What's Micah Parsons best at, though? Freewheeling the whole field.
sure.
Let
yeah.
that dude roam free and do what he
get
needs
two
to do.
fat dudes in the middle to take up blocks so Micah Parsons can just run.
You could go that route, too.
That's what I do. Because Micah Parsons is that guy.
But I mean, honestly, you put Vaughn on one side, Randy Gregory on the other, it does the same thing.
Correct.
So,
With two fat dudes in the middle.
whatever.
I like the fat dudes in the middle.
Broncos right now are on the verge. They're not even on the verge. They are one more bad move away from being sellers for the next decade.
I am just on the. I am waiting till they are sold.
Pinky, it doesn't matter even if they are sold. Here's the problem. If you do not get Aaron Rodgers, I know you don't follow college football that closely just yet. You're coming around a little bit, but you're not there yet. there is not a great QB prospect like there has been the last 5 to 6 years in the rankings coming out. Now, add that with, even if there was, you don't guarantee that you're going to be the ones that get to draft him. What the hell are the Broncos going to do?
I don't know, but when we get a new owner, when we get a new coaching staff, we'll figure it out. If we had a legit good coaching staff right now, we would be a better team
save me
today.
a little foot space. I just need a toe on the wagon. That's all I'm going to need. Just save me a little space, baby.
Hey, you know what?
I root for all different teams. That's why I get crapped on Twitter.
Yeah,
They're like, oh, you're a Broncos fan, but you're wearing a Chiefs jersey. I'm like, I will root for other
Here's the
teams.
deal that I hate about fans. When fans say, I'm a fan through thick and thin. No. If you're a true fan, you would not support the team when they're being stupid. That's what a true fan would do.
I agree with that.
Instead, you get these dumbasses sitting there going, no, you should still root for them even though they're not good. But no, it's not that they're not good. It's not that they're losing, but they have potential. It's there is no silver lining in this situation right now. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. The situation the Broncos are in right now is if we don't get Aaron Rodgers, they're effed in the A by a giant alien thing that you haven't even seen yet. And when you do, you're going to cry. That's how bad it is. And what's crazy is they have so much talent. There are skill positions left and right. But if you don't have a quarterback to get him the ball, it don't matter. None.
I just think you guys have to go after Mike White. You know what I mean? It's just, you know.
Cooper Rush is looking good right now.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, man. That's terrible.
I'm just telling you.
Again, I still think with new ownership, new coaching staff, things will get better. I like George Payton. He's made some good moves that I think. Again, I can't always credit him with the Fields move. I would have drafted Fields too.
Of course.
I was on the record saying that.
Yeah.
Although at the moment, and again, it's probably because he has a shitty coaching staff, he doesn't look good in Chicago.
He also doesn't have the talent in Chicago that he would have had in Denver.
I mean, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
He's made Allen Robinson literally non-existent.
And I'll go back to this. You know what? Because they did that stupid move, we got Micah Parsons, and I feel pretty good about that. So
There you go.
God.
yeah,
They helped out the Cowboys.
yeah, there we go. And then Micah Parsons gets to say, "Thank you, Broncos." And let's see what he does to you guys Sunday.
They did save you because Surtain was going to you guys.
Absolutely.
No, Surtain's given up literally less than 40 yards to most wide receivers.
That
he's
was the
faced.
point.
Who cares?
To have Diggs and
It still
Surtain.
matters, man.
All right.
Diggs and Surtain right now?
Dude, that would have been absolutely disgusting. And we would still have Jalen Smith. We wouldn't have gotten rid of him if we didn't have
I
Parsons.
mean,
And I don't think
you
you're
could
nearly
get
as
Jalen
good.
Smith back because the Packers released him.
I don't think you're nearly as good because you don't have any pass rush.
well, listen, if nobody's open, your pass rush gets there, right? You pick your poison. Do you want to get rushed?
I think the Cowboys' defense is as good with Surtain as it is with Parsons.
Nope.
It would just
Nope.
be different.
I don't think it's even close. I think Parsons is a generational talent. I think Surtain is a couple Pro Bowl cornerback when it's all said and done.
I don't know.
That's still pretty good. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not good. I'm saying you're talking about generational.
I think you shit on Surtain more because they didn't take Fields
No.
than just knowing that he's a good player.
Here's Surtain. Give me a solid. He's not on a Patrick Peterson or Revis level. I don't see his career ever going that level. He's a. I don't even know if he gets Hall of Fame status. He's just a solid cornerback his whole career. Versus drafting like an LT. That's what Micah Parsons is about to become. A generational talent.
I don't think that. But
Yep, guaranteed.
All I know is we don't have a great track
You
record.
can't guarantee bullshit, bro. Look at your list that we went over. You're cursed.
It's not good.
Yeah, the only thing
Dude,
not
he
good.
just said, Michael, you were screwed.
Yeah.
Micah
Not
Parsons
good.
is going to get injured and suck.
don't
Not
talk
good.
about another Cowboy. All right, you talk
Not
about your team
good.
all you want. All right, and you
Got
know
a
what?
lot of Cowboys that I'm big fans
Listen,
of too, so
and
it's
you
not
want to know
good.
what? The fact that you're a fan of the Broncos is actually starting to explain this entire situation. All right, so I think we should wrap it up with that.
Well, no fantasy, but I think, we kind of covered a lot of the fantasies we were going through with the games, injuries, and things of that nature.
Fantasy's tough right now.
Yeah,
man.
it's brutal, man.
It is brutal.
I was the top team in the league, and I had because I've got Derrick Henry and I've got some good wide receivers.
Yeah,
I'm literally starting Myles Gaskin and Naheem Hines this week because of my running backs.
I started Marlon Mack and Philip Lindsay. All right, I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, that's real rough. On that note, good luck, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful week. Love hanging out.
We'll
with
see you in
fellas.
Dallas.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
drink on your 2 fingers, everybody. We love our whiskey.
That's right.
We're out.
I can show you where my heart's at, see it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at, see it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at, see it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at, see it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at, see it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I